We are live. What is going on, everybody? I'm Adam, and here we are back with another episode of Our Real Addiction. I think it's episode 161. If I'm wrong, I do apologize. But anyways, if you already haven't, please do us a favor. Do me the favor by hitting the subscribe button. Hit the like button on this video. If you dislike it, I don't really care. Go ahead and dislike it. I mean, it doesn't bug me. Anyways, hit the bell notification. Share this with your mom, your grandma, your brother, your sister, your dog, your cat. Just send it to someone. Send it to someone. And if you feel the need to report it, then go ahead and report it. Anyways, like I said, here we are, another episode of Our Real Addiction. I don't know how often again this is going to be, so get used to it. But as of right now. In this new era of Our Real Addiction, I can guarantee you I will have guaranteed you 3 episodes. So obviously, on Monday, we had the Deadpool and Wolverine spoiler review, our open spoiler discussion, whatever you want to talk about, or whatever you want to call it. Today we're looking at Marvel Studios' Hall H at Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con 2024, and of course next week on August 7th I'll be talking about the Trap movie, M. Night Shyamalan's The Trap movie, and we're going to be joined by Joseph. So Joseph, who was a recurring guest on the Our Real Addiction podcast, is going to be joining me next week as my special guest co-host for that episode, so stay tuned for that. Pretty excited. I'll be seeing it next Monday. I was supposed to go with him Thursday night, but then my family last minutely decided to take a trip. So anyways, I'll be seeing it Monday night. He'll be seeing it Thursday, and then we'll be having an episode for you on Wednesday, August 7th. After that, all I can say is stay tuned, because it won't be a weekly thing. At least I don't think it will be. But yeah, and maybe at some point we'll get Movie News Monday back up and running. But we're going to basically just, I guess you can say, jump right in. Really, so obviously, San Diego Comic-Con 2024. This is all Marvel, baby. This episode is going to be all Marvel. That's all we're strictly talking about. I'm going to be honest, I don't really care about the DC news. There wasn't really anything outside of James Gunn promoting the new DC Studios logo. I mean, okay, cool. It made sense why the Superman cast wasn't there. They're in the middle of filming. It didn't make sense to interrupt make them leave set, and then just for an hour at Hall H at most. So I mean, hey, I get it. There's really not much DC going on outside of the Penguin. They released a trailer. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't bother watching it yet. So I mean, it is what it is. Anyways, well, next year, I will say, before we get into completely with Marvel's Hall H panels at Comic-Con this past Saturday, actually this past weekend, really, next year, I would expect DC to have a bigger presence at San Diego Comic-Con, just because at that point, Superman Legacy will have, I think, already be out, or like 2 weeks away from release. So you can definitely expect a panel for Superman Legacy next year at San Diego Comic-Con 2025. Anyways, let's get right into it. So I guess I'm going to rush through everything. I'm going to rush through really everything except the three biggest news that broke. So there were three big major announcements. I'm going to rush through everything because we want to talk about, the money shot, really, Robert Downey Jr. returning to the MCU. We're going to get all into that. But first, we have to just talk about everything that happened at Marvel Studios' Hall H over the weekend. So, obviously, Deadpool and Wolverine had a panel. The panel kicked off with a musical moment as a full Deadpool and Wolverine choir took the stage in red and yellow robes to celebrate the film's release in theaters this past weekend. This past weekend. The choir delivered a rousing rendition of Madonna's Live Like a Prayer as a troupe of Deadpool variants danced through the aisles. Then Marvel Studios president took the stage to kickstart the presentation, introducing Deadpool and Wolverine star Rob Delaney as the evening's host. But if you saw any of the screenshot or any of the videos that popped up, you saw that the entire cameo or the entire cast was there. Obviously, Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, Jennifer Gardner, Daphne King was there. I think Wesley Snipes was there. I'm blanking on the names right now. Channing Tatum was there. Everybody who was involved in the movie, big character wise, were involved. Were at this panel. Really nothing special. I don't want to say nothing special, but it was just kind of like a big celebration for, I don't know how long. I would assume it went on for an hour. It was just a big celebration for the film, celebrating the film. I don't know how true it is, but I saw that apparently they showed them the film. I doubt that's entirely true. But yeah, I mean, hats off to Deadpool and Wolverine. It's probably going to be Marvel's. It's probably going to hit the $1 billion club, considering it's like in the top like 10 of like biggest box office opening weekends, and prior to the film, prior to Deadpool and Wolverine breaking that record, every single film hit the $1 billion club. So I don't want to say Deadpool and Wolverine is almost a guaranteed to be a $1 billion club, but it is. I think it's currently sitting at like 500 million, or close to $500 million if it's not already. Currently sits at 496 million as of right now, according to Box Office Mojo, powered by IMDb. So makes sense, or well, I should say, it is already close to going to be $500 million by the time you're probably watching this video, and we can see it hit north of 750 million by the end of the week. So I wouldn't be surprised. But hats off to Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman and Marvel Studios for this massive W. Truly needed as something very, very memorable. Marvel Studios films. I don't think we really had one. Yes, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, but I mean, I feel like we just brushed over. At least I did. But yeah, point is, after that, moving on to Saturday night, where really all the big stuff happened. So first up, Captain America: Brave New World. Marvel shared a new look at Captain America: Brave New World, teasing Anthony Mackie's next adventure as Sam Wilson. Mackie took the stage with Tim Blake Nelson, Danny Ramirez, and Giancarlo Esposito, who confirmed that he is playing Sam Volker, a.k.a. the Sidewinder, to lead the Notorious Serpent Society. After debuting exclusive footage from the film, Mackie brought out Harrison Ford, who greeted the cheering crowd with a roar. So obviously, Harrison Ford, replacing William Hurt, who recently passed, I think it was about 2 years ago now, who should have been playing the Red Hulk, who would have been playing the Red Hulk in this film. Obviously, Harrison Ford comes from a long history of playing Indiana Jones and Han Solo in Star Wars, and obviously Indiana Jones, so he's jumping, just staying employed by Disney, really. But point is, he'll be playing the Red Hulk, and this is going to be their first time we're seeing Red Hulk after teased. Apparently, I don't know how true this is, but apparently Anthony Mackie slipped up with a possible spoiler from the film. Basically, he was interviewed, and there's a possibility that Hulk is in the film. I don't know how true that is, but that'd be super awesome. Anyways, point is, obviously, we're getting a Brave New World, which is going to lead directly into the Thunderbolts, where we had the entire cast, including Hannah John Kamen, Wyatt Russell, Florence Pugh, Sebastian Stan, and David Harbour, and the rest of the supporting cast. David Harbour did come out in the Red Guardian outfit to start the show. He made a joke about it, that he sent out an email and nobody returned it, and so it was pretty funny. Honestly, funny, cringing moment. David Harbour, known for doing what he does best, just being a total goofster and what we see him in, but super awesome. I love David Harbour, so I'm super excited that Marvel is continuing on with the Thunderbolts and really using these misfits of characters. That's what Marvel is calling them, as the group of Marvel misfits took the stage, and they welcomed the director as well, Jake Schaefer, who was also there as well with them. But yeah, so obviously that's going to lead into the film. Apparently Ghost will have a new outfit as well. Makes sense. and I mean, I think it's going to be fantastic. Also, Schaefer described the film as an irreverent team-up movie following an unlikely group as they unite to face a new threat. Feige also pointed out the asterisk in the film's official title when they asked to explain it, or when they asked to explain what it meant. The producer teased, "You have to see the movie." Okay, so I like that. That's cool that there's an asterisk of Thunderbolts. So obviously that asterisk is going to have a hitting meaning, or going to have another meaning to it, which I think that's pretty cool. But I don't know if they showed him any footage from it. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they did, like how Marvel used to, where they would show like upcoming films. I remember Infinity War had a teaser like 2 years before the film came out, which I thought was freaking awesome, and nobody got to see it. And then it finally released like right before the film came out, or like the year before the film came out, or a couple months before the film came out. But anyways, the Fantastic Four cast was also there as well. So the upcoming Fantastic Four film, they announced will be beginning technically this week, but at the time that they Comic-Con was going on, it was next week. But first, Marvel's first family made a pit stop at Comic-Con. Director Matt Shakman joined by stars Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Yvonne Moss-Bachrach, and Joseph Quinn. Pedro Pascal also playing Reed Richards, who will be playing Reed Richards. Kirby, who will be playing Sue Storm. Yvonne Moss-Bachrach playing Ben Grimm the Thing, and Joseph Quinn playing Johnny Storm, aka the Human Torch. They shared new details about the film's futuristic but 1960 inspiring setting. Shakman also revealed the film's official title was the Fantastic Four First Steps. Then Marvel sent the group's iconic Fantastic car soaring over the crowd, accompanied by the music composer Michael Giacchino. It's cool that Michael Giacchino is returning to the MCU. I love a lot of the work that he does for the MCU. They shared some details about this. Obviously, we know Galactus is going to be in the film that they did announce at Comic-Con as well. They also put up a screenshot. I'm gonna be honest. I always say I'm gonna put up the photos and the screenshots. If I remember, I will right here. So I'll put up that as well. I would have to assume after the announcement of Robert Downey Jr. returning to the MCU, he'll have a small role, at least the very end, the after credit scene. But I don't know why they called it the First Steps. I mean, obviously we know it's not taking place in the 616 universe. I mean, I guess it's not the biggest of deals, but I think just calling it the Fantastic Four would have been just fine. Marvel Studios is the Fantastic Four. That's perfectly fine. But hey, it is what it is. First Steps I think is just unnecessary in my opinion. I'm nitpicking. I know I am. Also too, I mean, I don't know. I'm not really sold on Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, which is weird because you think I would be like more upset with like either like Vanessa Kirby or Joseph Quinn or even Yvonne Moss-Bachrach. I don't know how to say his last name. Excuse me. As their castings, but I feel like Pedro Pascal is like the outlier here. Like he's the only one that I feel like shouldn't be in this film, which is so weird. I feel like, yeah, he probably would have been better as a villain in the MCU. I know he was fan casted as Doom for many years, and even so was Giancarlo Esposito. I'm assuming they talked to them for the roles of Doom and couldn't work it out with them, and so they ended up joining the MCU in different roles. I mean, I can only assume that. But yeah, so obviously the film is filming as of right now. It releases next July, I believe, on July 25th. So a year from this month. By the time you're watching this, it'll be the last day of the month. So less than a year. We're officially less than a year away from the film. I believe it's July 25th, summer of 2025, I should say. Fantastic Four, First Steps comes out, directed by Matt Shakman. Obviously, here's been the biggest rumor. This is the best part that I think we're just going to be talking about for a while on this, really, in this episode. But we finally got the title for the 5th Avengers film, and we finally found the directors of Avengers Secret Wars. So, as one final surprise, Feige welcomed directors Anthony and Joe Russo to take the stage, announcing that the brothers will direct back-to-back Avengers films, stepping out to cheers that the acclaimed directors revealed they will helm directors Avengers Doomsday in May 2026 and Avengers Secret Wars in May 2027. The Russo brothers opened up about their lifelong love of the Secret Wars storyline from the comics, and they said that although they expected Avengers Infinity War and Endgame to be their final Marvel films, they jumped at the chance to bring Secret Wars to the screen. As one final surprise, the Russos revealed that a familiar face will return to play Victor Von Doom as a group of green cloak figures walked onto the stage in Doom masks. One of them stepped forward and revealed himself as Iron Man actor Robert Downey Jr. And Robert Downey Jr. ended up, so he kept saying throughout the night, "New mask, same task." Downey told the cheering crowd, confirming that he will play Doctor Doom in the upcoming Avengers films. "What can I tell you? I like playing complicated characters." So obviously that's everything that went on. But I want to focus on the fact that Robert Downey Jr. is coming back to the MCU. So first things first, let's call it what it is. The MCU outside of actually No Way Home, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and now what Deadpool is going to be, the films have virtually been flops. They have. And bringing back Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. As Victor Von Doom, back to the MCU, I should say, it does seem a little bit of a desperate move. It does. And even bringing back the Russos. Also, too, though, the Russos seem a little desperate coming back as well, because I'm not trying to sound mean, but they really haven't had too many good films since leaving the MCU. Drop it in the comments. Name one memorable film that they've done. I'm not trying to sound mean. I love them as MCU directors, but they have not hit gold the way they have in the MCU. So let's just call it what it is. However, I'm going to be honest, I don't care that it's a cash grab, in all honesty. I really don't. I'm so freaking excited that Robert Downey Jr. is back in the MCU. Do I wish they would have kept it a surprise? Absolutely, but something like this would have never been a surprise. This would have leaked so dang freaking fast, especially with how leaks have been. We knew Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield were in Spider-Man No Way Home like 2 years up to before the film's release. Come on. This would have leaked so damn freaking fast. Nobody would have been able to keep their mouth shut about Robert Downey Jr. coming back to the MCU. It's the truth. And for those criticizing that you wanted a more comically accurate a more comically accurate Victor Von Doom, I get it. You wanted the Romani, or you wanted a Romani actor. I know everybody's been Marvel fans and comic book readers have been asking that of years. At least get Doom right. That's what they truthfully wanted, and rightfully so. I get that. However, Robert Downey Jr. coming back to the MCU, I think it's just a big win, regardless of if it's a cash grab. Is it? Yeah, I think it is. It's a reason to get people to talk about the MCU again. Because they need we don't know how long of the success is going to carry over from Deadpool and Wolverine. People aren't going once this excitement over Deadpool and Wolverine dies out. What is there really to look forward to? Captain America, despite me loving the trailer, also too, I just think it looks good just because I personally loved Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I don't see too many people being excited for that outside of the Red Hulk. And that will eventually kind of, okay, what's next? Then we have Daredevil Born Again. And yes, people love Daredevil, but really Disney Plus shows, Marvel Disney Plus shows, don't really have an outstanding, lasting impact. Don't get me wrong. That film is 18 weeks, which is basically, I think it's coming out in March of 2025, and that will carry out, we'll get 9 episodes for one part, and then 9 episodes for a second part, if that still holds up. I don't know if they'll change it to the weekly release. But that will, more or less, once we binge that will basically carry us, I would have to assume, right into Fantastic Four, The First Steps. or excuse me, the Fantastic Four First Steps. I don't know what comes out outside of that. In all honesty, all I know is that Avengers Doomsday comes out in May 2025. So there's a possibility that Fantastic Four, the First Steps, will be one of the last projects within the MCU before Avengers Doomsday. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know their slate. However, I'm gonna be honest. Okay, like I said, Robert Downey Jr. coming back to the MCU is not a problem because at the very least, we knew he'd be coming back in Secret Wars. We knew. At least that's what I had always predicted. I never fully believed Robert Downey Jr. was done with the MCU. It was kind of like, hey, I'm taking a hiatus and I'm coming back later when we do our next big crossover event, which the rumor was obviously going to be Avengers Secret Wars, that's what they were going to adapt. But yeah, I think it's freaking awesome. I'm glad he's back. Also, too, like the whole point that everybody's saying, like I've seen what everybody's saying on the internet. Oh, well, it's not believable because Robert Downey Jr. is so tied to the Iron Man role. Yeah, exactly. That what you're exactly saying is the reason why I personally think it's going to work, because we see him as Iron Man and we see him as not the first Avenger, but we see him as Tony Stark, billionaire playboy. What is it? Genius billionaire playboy philanthropist. Okay, that's what we see him as. That is what we constantly seen him as. His first 10 years in the MCU, first 11 years in the MCU, was Iron Man, the center of the Marvel Universe. And now he's coming back once again as the center of the Marvel Universe, but as a villain. I think that is freaking badass. That is super awesome. You want to know why? Because when everybody sees him, they're going to be shook. Like, we're all going to be shook in the theaters. It's going to be hard. Like, regardless. It's going to be, like, I really hope that they do a scene with both him, Robert Downey Jr., as Victor Von Doom, with both Happy and Gwyneth Paltrow coming back in a cameo as Pepper Potts. Like, I feel like them seeing him, like, the 616 Marvel Studios is Happy and Pepper Potts, like, seeing him. Oh my gosh, that would be such a gut-wrenching scene because they won't know what to do. And then they can have this like really awesome, like intense moment where it almost seems like Pepper Potts is getting to this, to this Tony Stark variant, which I do believe it's going to be a Tony Stark variant. I do believe it's going to be of like it's Tony Stark ultimately, like if his dad married somebody else, or like, or he, instead of, if that was like his real name, or under like a different alias or something like that. So I do think it is going to be a Tony Stark variant while still being Doctor Doom. I mean, it can work. Obviously Marvel has a little bit of obstacles with it, but I wholeheartedly think that this can freaking work and work so freaking well. And I'm super excited for it. I'm super excited that the Russo brothers are coming back too. Just because I feel like they just work well with each other. Like, people are work well with the Avengers. Like, people are excited to work with them. That's how I just personally seem like that. Nobody has a bad thing to say about the Russo brothers while working for them, which is the best part about it. But like I said, the Robert Downey Jr. storyline, Victor Von Doom storyline, I think can work. I think it could work so well. And honestly, okay, hear me out. You want to establish him as a big bad. He needs a Thanos-like entrance, like how Thanos had in Infinity War. He just does. Also, too, you want to continue to establish him. Have him kill have him kill Happy and Pepper. Honestly, have this Tony Stark variant kill Pepper Potts and Happy Hogan. Like, you want to establish like this isn't Tony Stark. Do something like that, and you're gonna shake. Like, that crowd's gonna be shook. Because think about when Peter sees him, like when Spider-Man sees him, and he's just like, wow, this is my mentor. And like everybody's going to be shook. Now that honestly, okay, and with Chris Evans making his cameo in Deadpool and Wolverine, honestly, I even more believing he's involved in Secret Wars. When Captain America sees this version of Iron Man, or this version of Tony Stark as Victor Von Doom, it's going to be, like, he's going to have a hard time as well. Like, everybody is going to have a hard time processing that this face of Tony Stark is on a villain, and like he says, same new mask, same task. I think he's referring to that infamous Tony Stark line, a suit of armor around the world. Like, he wants to be, like, Victor Von Doom wants a suit of armor around the world. And so that sounds freaking exciting. If he's gonna have like his own like Doom army, and maybe instead of it like not being like an AI, it is like a sentient being that he just creates. I mean, especially with the way the multiverse works, like there's so many routes you can go with that. But I think it's going to be fantastic. I think it's going to be fine. I don't understand the backlash. Is it a cash grab? Absolutely. I don't freaking care. Take my money, Marvel. Take my money. I want to know why? Because I'm just excited that Robert Downey Jr. is back in the MCU. And I'm excited the Russo brothers are back in the MCU. So I personally do not care that it is a cash grab. That's what it feels like. I mean, call a spade a spade. That's what it is. But who freaking cares? Who freaking cares? This is what we wanted. Like, the MCU has not been the same since Robert Downey Jr. Chris Evans, and the Russo brothers have left the MCU. Let's just be honest. Calling them back, it sounds like hey, we're calling in our lifeline, and it is what it is. Who cares? Who cares? Because this can work. It can work so freaking well. At least, and I do think it is. And here's what I will say: even if Doomsday is a like stupidly bad movie, like where it's just like horrible writing, horrible exposition, horrible just everything. You cannot tell me that Robert Downey Jr. isn't going to be absolutely fantastic. Like, he's gonna like, you know what this feels like? Honestly, this feels similar to a Bryan Cranston, playing Heisenberg after so many years of Hal. I don't remember their last name. Hal Wilkinson, from Malcolm in the Middle. That's what Robert Downey Jr. feels like. Robert Downey Jr. being casted as Victor Von Doom is the equivalence to, Bryan Cranston getting casted as Walter White / Heisenberg. Remember how long, not remember how long, but it took a long time for people to get on with it. And now people see him as Heisenberg. So that's just my opinion. I personally think that Robert Downey Jr., I'm going to reiterate that right there. Robert Downey Jr. casted as Victor Von Doom is the equivalence to Bryan Cranston playing Heisenberg. It's going to work. It's just simply going to work. At least I personally think so. Is it going to take us a little bit getting used to? Abso-freaking-lutely. But once he is established as this Marvel big bad, people are it's going to be crazy that he is going to have two characters that he had impacted the MCU, both Iron Man, aka Tony Stark, and Victor Von Doom, aka Doctor Doom. It's going to be fine. I wouldn't worry about it. Absolutely wouldn't worry about it. I'm super excited. Obviously, and here's the thing. I know in the last video I had said that we were like, what was it? Like 5 to 6 years away from Avengers 5 and Avengers 5 and 6, right? Yeah, Avengers 5 and 6. Like I had said, we were years away from those films. Obviously, I was wrong. Mainly because the reason I said that is because we didn't have directors, and I think I mentioned that in the Deadpool and Wolverine episode. We didn't have directors announced, and now that we do, you killed two birds with one stone. Also, too, apparently that Robert Downey Jr. wouldn't come back unless the Russo brothers came back. So take that with what you will. Also, too, apparently Robert Downey Jr.'s payday is like north of $100 million for coming back. So you were going to best believe that they're going to really, really work to make these two films some of the biggest Marvel films. Is this the end of the MCU in terms of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like this first run that we're still kind of in? I guess you can say phase officially like a version 2 of the MCU, but still like the collectiveness of the MCU. Is this like the end? The Secret Wars the end? I would have to kind of guess so, because like after that point, like I think it would be smart to kind of reset everything and just kill the universe after this and let it sit for 10 years and then do it again. Build another cinematic universe. Hopefully at that time they'll have Spider-Man under their belts. They're just gonna keep rebooting these universes. In all honesty, like once they end, for the end of time, they make too much money. But yeah, I mean, I think that's gonna do it really for this episode. If there's anybody who has anything to say, please leave it down in the comments. I apologize for the misinformation last episode about of the Avengers film, the next two Avenger films being like 5 to 6 years away, or 5 to 6 years away. Obviously, they're not. They are 2 and 3 years away. So I stand corrected. I'm fine with that. The next Avengers film being 2026. I have no problem with that. That's less than 2 years away. That really, I mean, I'm excited. I'm super excited. I think it's going to be fine. Robert Downey Jr. being casted as Victor Von Doom. But let me know your comments or let me know your thoughts, any questions that you may have for me. Just put them down in the comments below, and I'll be happy to answer them. And as always, I'm Adam. And again, before we sign off, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share the video, hit the bell notification just so you can stay up to date with whenever I post a new episode, because at the end of the day, this isn't just my real addiction. This is our real addiction. So we'll catch you in the next episode. Peace out.